Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Hari Haribo.
Agyanam timirandasya Gyananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Twadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah Yang Pravajantam Manupetam Apeta Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruaju Putri Ditanmayataya Taravu Banedos Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Bhaktya Vihina Aparadalakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadi Kripamaitam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanaravindam Tavaivasmi Tavaivasmi Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanam Angashamalim Chadabirabito Mandi Kritandivaram Jadyam Jagudarotsisam Bhagadatam Patambarasya Vrindaranyanivasinam Ridilasadamabhiramodaram Radha Skandhaniveshito Jalabhujam Dhyayamadamodaram Dhyayamadamodaram Padita Sheshabadha Kimaparamavashishta Pushtimarya Deyorme Yadi Bhagati Chakinse Smeda Soditasya Dvijapadava Mukti Shuktya Tadakim Shama Sundara Shikanda Sekar Smeraha Samurali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkari Karo Prananatha Brishabhanu Nandini Srimakabjara Salola Satapada Radhika Paratale Kritistitam Tam Bhajami Rasikendra Shekara Sambhidaya Dashane Trinam Vibho Parthaye Brajamahendra Nandana Astu Mohan Tavati Ballabha Janma Janmadi Madiswari Priya. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Guru Dev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Asto Tirasat Shri Shiman, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. On the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Guru Dev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Asto Tirasat Shri Shiman, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus who are my Shiksha Gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. We are now going into our third week, I believe, of our Kartik Brat, Niyam Seva Brat, Uja Brat, in glorification and to please Srimati Radhika. One of our niyams is to read, or hear rather, because we're directly in front of Sri Guru, to hear Damodarastakam every day during Kartik. And actually, now that I think about it, in the first couple of weeks of Kartik, being in Gopinath Bhavan, Srila Gurudev would complete the whole Damodarastakam. And for the second 2 weeks in Govardhan, he would discuss books like Bhajan Rahasya. So now we're on verse 3. Iti driksvali labir ananda kunde swagosham nimajantam akyapayantam tadiyeshitagneshu bhaktairjitatvam punar prematastam satavritti bande. By his childhood pastimes, such as Dam Bandhan Lila, the pastime of binding little Krishna by Mother Yasoda, he perpetually drowns all the residents of Braj. His gopas, gopis, cows, calves, and so forth, who are all manifested by his pastime potency in pools of bliss. Who is his pastime potency?
Yogamaya.
And who is Yogamaya?
She's an expansion of Radharani.
She's an expansion of Radharani. So Radharani is definitely the Isvari, Kartik Isvari, Ujjaisvari, Kriyesvari, Chamesvari, Ramesvari, Pramoda Kananesvari. So he thus informs those who have knowledge of his absolute divinity that only the pure and simple love of these devotees can conquer him. Again, hundreds of times I offer loving obeisances to Sri Damodar Krishna. Now we'll be hearing from Srila Sanatana Goswami as we sit at his lotus feet, and he's speaking directly to us. Sri Satyavrat Muni begins this verse with Iti Drik Swali Labir to establish his worshipful Lord's unique glory. He accomplishes this by illustrating his wonderful character. In this verse, Iti is used to mean like this. Thus he begins, like this, by his Bhaktavat Sata, that means by his wanting to please his devotees, and Idrashi Bischa, by his supremely enchanting, extraordinary childhood pastimes like Damodar Lila, He is immersing all the residents of Gokul in great bliss. The addition of swa in the phrase swa lila bi conveys the greatness of his own pastimes, or it conveys the uncommon excellence of the playfulness of his pastimes. This has been described in the Bhagavatam 10.11.7 in statements such as the following. The gopis would encourage Krishna to dance in various ways. They would clap their hands and say, "If you dance, then we will give you a ladu." That's a chickpea flour sweet. Although Krishna is the Supreme Lord, omnipotent, and the master of all opulences, baby Krishna would dance for them like an innocent human being. Sometimes they would tell him to sing, and like an ordinary, bewildered child, he would sing for them. Enchanted by them, he became like a wooden puppet in his hands. So not only are the devotees enchanted by Krishna, but he's also enchanted by them. Once, Gurudev was telling us that, you see this first Manjari here, Vinod Manjari, when she comes with Srimati Radhika to cook for Krishna in the morning, or when she comes before Radhika to cook, because of her enchanting braid, the end of which looks like a serpent ready to bite. When Krishna sees this braid, that serpent bites him, and he practically faints out of enchantment. So it's not only Radhika who he's enchanted by, but his various devotees, and especially Radhika's associates. And as mentioned this morning, sometimes he has to beg them that please allow me in the kunj. Sometimes the gopis would order Krishna, these are the elderly gopis, to bring them someone's shoes, wooden seats, measuring cups, or the weights used for scales. At such times, he would act as if he was unable to carry them, and he would simply stand there touching them. And then he would repeatedly strike his arms to show his mightiness. By such gestures, he would fill his own kith with boundless joy. And sometimes he would be able to carry Nanda Baba's shoes on his head. It was in sole reference to the above statements of the Bhagavatam that Sri Satyavrata Muni said that Krishna causes Swagosham, his own kith and kin, the residents of Gokul, to be totally submerged in Ananda Kunda, means a pool of bliss. Alternatively, the word Gosha means to loudly proclaim the glory of something. Directing the word Gosh either to himself, swasya, or to his own, swanam, the meaning becomes either by broadcasting his own glories or by broadcasting the gopis' glories and the gopas' glories. Certainly by becoming absorbed in the mood of spreading his extraordinary glories, as well as the glories of his own loved ones. Even Krishna sinks in Ananda Kunda, the pool of ecstasy. And as a result, he feels the highest limit of happiness. Pleasing his devotees gives him the highest happiness. In the Bhagavatam 10:11:9, it's stated, Bhagavan Sri Krishna showed the community of those who know about his supreme position that he only remains under the full control of his loving servants. So although he's pleased like this, and what benediction would you like? He's not overwhelmed and he's not controlled. So the original Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna Chandra, is exhibiting that in every respect he's only controlled by his loving servants in Braj. And among them, especially he's controlled by those in Unat, Ujjvala, Ras, or the supremely pure humor of Madhurya Ras. Madhurya Ras has two parts. One is Sambhogatma Mayi, and one is Tat Tat Bhava Ichatmika, or Icha Mayi. One is the love of the independent gopis, whose highest bliss is to arrange for meetings with Radha and Krishna, but who also greatly enjoy their personal exchanges with Krishna. And the other is Tat Tat Bhava Ichatmika, or Icha Mayi. And that is those, well, all the gopis have Surid Rati, or the ecstasy of a friend with Radhika. But their Surid Rati doesn't supersede their Krishna Rati, because everyone in existence, Krishna is the center of relationships. Akila Rasamrita Sindhu. He's the ocean of all relationships. Ras Amrita, the nectar of the relationship. So then there is the other kind of those in Madhurya Rati, and that is, or those with Surid Rati, and their Surid Rati way overflood their Krishna Rati and also expands at every moment by their absorption in it. And their Rati, with the other gopis, like Lalita and Vishaka, their Surid Rati is a Sanchari Bhav. That means that the Sanchari Bhavs, I think they're 32 in number, they swell up in the ocean of their Krishna Rati, which is their Sthayi Bhav, swell up momentarily and then go back into their ocean of their Sthayi Bhav. But with the Manjaris, because their Surid Rati supersedes their Krishna Rati and keeps expanding, so their Surid Rati is called, their special, distinctive kind of Surid Rati is called Pavulas Rati, and that is their Sthayi Bhav. They're the only ones with that special Sthayi Bhav, or permanent ecstasy, permanent relationship with Krishna. So he's not controlled by devotees who worship him on the path of Aiswarya, which is characterized by the mood of reverence, nor by the Gyanis, but to speak of the Gyanis, who know him to be the self-effulgent, sufficient, supremely powerful Lord. There's two kinds of Gyanis. Do you know what they are?
Brahmagani, and they have a conception that God is a person, but they pick Brahma, right?
That's true, but I was referring to two others. One is the Jnani, which is what you said, all the different kinds of Jnanis, the speculator, the impersonalists, those who know that, yeah, like that. And then there's the Jnani Bhakta, who's a pure devotee, and he knows that Krishna is God. So therefore, he cannot render personal service. Like when Shringadev killed Hiranyakashipu, he didn't think that maybe he's thirsty, maybe he's hungry. Rather, he just glorified him. So he doesn't think he has personal needs, so he doesn't render personal service. Of course, preaching, you could say, is personal service, but it's not like the personal service of giving a bath, feeding. Therefore, Sri Satyabrat Muni prays, overwhelmed with incomparable, pure, loving devotion for you, I offer you Vandana by prayers of adoration. He's not on that level. He's still adoring him as the Supreme Lord. Hundreds of times, Satavrati. To you, the Supreme Lord, I offer Vandana prayers again and again. Thus, in this verse, the sage wishes to say, among the limbs of bhakti, which are required for all devotees, I only pray to perform one special limb of bhakti, and that is bandhana, constant prayers expressing my adoration, which is the exact mood that Krishna says he's not controlled by. But he's not praying for knowledge of his opulence or anything else, but he's praying to the Lord as he who's only controlled by his pure devotees, but he's praying means that he's not on that level. Nobody prays to Krishna in Braj, except sometimes when Krishna wants to enjoy and tries to enjoy with some manjari, she prays to him, why do you want to give me this lower pleasure of being with you directly? I want the highest pleasure of arranging Srimati's pleasurable meeting with you. So now we're going to hear from Srila Gurudev personally, his commentary on Sanatana Goswami's commentary. It's a lot of pages ahead of us. Krishna's pastimes are lakes of inexhaustible bliss, in which he drowns the entire village of Gokul. When Krishna becomes a little bit bigger, he discovered that he could go beyond the doorstep leading out of the house. One day, when he and his big brother Balaram went outside, they saw that some bright red flowers were blossoming nearby. However, the flowers were surrounded by a fence of dry, bare thorns. Like that, you have a bush of beautiful red flowers, but around them is another bush of thorns. Somehow they moved the thorny branches aside and went through to pick the flowers. Meanwhile, the thorny branches fell back into place, blocking their way out. How will we get out of here? They wondered, and burst into tears. Mother Yasoda heard their loud sobbing and came out of the house. Finding them trapped, she managed to move the thorny branches to the side and take them out. Sometimes Krishna would take a sword or a knife in his hands. Sometimes he would hold on to the horns of a huge bull, take the horns of a huge bull, and swing on them. Later, when he grew up, he would swing the bull, but now he would swing on the bull's horns. Finding them trapped, no, I did that. Other times, he would become astonished. So I recommend, or rather Gurudev recommends, that we repeat all these beautiful pastimes with each other after the class, the next day, and whenever you can remember them. That way they stick. Otherwise, if we speak material things, that's what sticks. It sticks in our mind, it comes into our japa, and is very disturbing. Otherwise, other times, he would become astonished when he saw himself reflected in the jeweled pillars of his home, and he would even try to speak with that reflection. And this leads, in his later years, to when he became very attracted to himself when he was looking at his reflection in the jewel pillar. And he kept getting more and more attracted until he finally wanted to enjoy a relationship with him, just like Srimati Radhika. One day his mother said, "Krishna, go fetch a calf and we will worship him." Krishna found a calf and caught hold of him, but when he tried to bring him to his mother, the calf refused to move. Krishna struggled with him to bring him along, tugging and pulling all the way. He finally reached the house, but when he noticed a pot of butter hanging from the ceiling, his mouth began to water. He climbed on the calf's back, and taking hold of the pot, he began to empty it of its contents. What was it? A pot of butter. Seeing his chance to escape, the calf fled from the spot, leaving Krishna dangling. "Maya, Maya," he cried. Mother Yasoda, finding Krishna hanging in the air, took him down and scolded him. Early each morning, the gopis used to crowd into Mother Yasoda's home just to see Sri Krishna. Sometimes some gopis would say, "Krishna is so strong," while others would argue, "No, Balaram is much stronger." How shall we definitely find out who's stronger? Let the two boys wrestle, and the winner will get a big lump of butter. On these occasions, just by seeing the butter, the two boys' mouths would water, and they would start wrestling. The gopis siding with Krishna would clap their hands if he won, and if he lost, the gopis on Balaram's side would clap victoriously. Sometimes a gopi would tempt Krishna with a laddu, saying, "Kanhaya, Kanaya is a nickname of Krishna. If you dance for us, we will give you a ladu. Putting his hand on his waist, he would dance to the rhythm. Tatai, tatai, and even sing a sweet little song. In various ways, the Braj Gopis would make Krishna dance. He became just like their puppet. In this way, he's repeating his Sanatana Goswami. Now he's again bringing up the example of Krishna, bring us that wooden seat. And they got more affection for him when he tried to lift it but couldn't. They thought that was so cute. The same Krishna in his Varaha incarnation, his incarnation as a boar, lifted the entire earth on his tusks. Also, when he was a little older, he easily lifted Govardhan Hill on his little finger, as if it were no more than a toy ball. But in his childhood pastimes, in the same Brajadam, he could not even lift a small wooden seat. This is the nature of his sweet, human-like pastimes. He controls everything in the universe, but at the same time, he's controlled by the residents of Braj. Although he's the master of unlimited potencies, which makes it's called Gatan, Agatan, Patiyasi Shakti. Can you say that? Gatan, Agatan, Patiyasi Shakti. That's the power, the potency that makes the impossible possible. And the possible impossible. So even he is controlled by that Shakti. And he forgets. Therefore, he can forget that he's God. Because that's impossible. How can God forget that he's God? But yet the impossible becomes possible and he forgets. As befitting an obedient son, he brings his father's shoes, carrying them on his head, and consider, Father will wear these shoes to attend to the assembly of Gopas. What is the meaning of Itidrik Swalilabir Anandakunde? Swagosham Nimajantam. Krishna's sweet childhood pastimes are an ocean of ras. How big is the ocean? It's inexhaustible. It has no boundary. Krishna's uncommon pastimes, like this Damodar Leela, is supremely charming. Again quoting Sanatana Goswami. Iti drik swa lilabir. One day, a fruit seller from Mathura, now Vasanti will tell you that whenever we were traveling with Gurudev around the world, I guess it's because he knew that I thought that I was a lady. And the fruit seller is a lady. He would always call on me to tell this Leela. And then I would drag it on, so he'd say, what? I forgot how he said it. Be brief. She had heard of the preeminent sweetness of Krishna's pastimes in Gokul and had become exceedingly eager to see him directly. Although she came to Braj often, she had never gotten the chance to see him. She's from Mathura, and she would go back and forth to sell her fruit. She never got a chance to see him because he was either asleep on the lap of his mother, or he was surrounded by his friends, busy playing inside his home. She tried again and again, but was always unable. Direct vision of Krishna is easily available to the residents of Braj, but quite rare for the people of Mathura. Still, the heart of the fruit seller became so full of anxiety that she resolved, if I do not see Krishna today, I will not return to Mathura. And Gurudev commented that a sadhak's resolve should be like this: do or die. Day and night, so the sadhak, the practitioner, should think like this: day and night I will execute the limbs of devotion as instructed by Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami. With love I will chant a fixed number. That's my determination. With love I will chant a fixed number of Krishna's names and serve Sri Guru and Vaishnavas. Every day I will study the Bhagavatam and other devotional literatures. Every day I will recite Gopi Geet, Venu Geet, Brahmar Geet, and Jugal Geet. If I come across a Rasik Vaishnava, I will give him my life to serve him. I will visit the places where Radha and Krishna perform their confidential pastimes, in the groves and forests of Braj. I will pray very piteously and recite hymns and prayers that are full of longing. Then Krishna will surely give me his darshan. He is not far away. So having made this vow, the fruit seller came to Nanda Maharaj's cowherd settlement and wandered about near his house. But she just lost her mind in the anxiety to see Krishna. So instead of chanting, take fruits, take guavas, take apples, take mangoes, bananas, instead of that, she became so absorbed that she started calling out, come, take Gopal, take Govinda, take Madhava, take Damodar. At first, she was balancing the basket of fruit on her head with one hand, but eventually she forgot to hold the basket together, and it kept from falling, only due to her natural expertise. Finally, she sat down before the doorstep of Nanda's house. When Krishna heard the cries of the fruit seller, he could not remain sitting quietly in his mother's lap. So he climbed down. I remember in one Badger class, Gurudev was telling how Krishna would climb down from his bed, like he turned his stomach to the bed, and he would climb down like this. So Krishna couldn't stay in place. He was forced by her sincere tears to get a bunch of grains from his mother, because in those days there wasn't any dirty dollars, but it was bartering, exchange of goods. So after taking as much grain as he could hold in his joined palms, he started towards the fruit seller, but his hands were so tiny that the grains were just falling out of his hands, and he just had a few grains left stuck to his fingers. He poured them into her basket, the few little grains, and demanded, "Oh, give me some fruit." The fruit seller became completely enchanted by the beautiful form of little Krishna and just sat there looking at him for some time. The import of this pastime is that unless someone is intensely eager, I'm trying to remember one conversation. It was a darshan with Prabhupada. The devotees were questioning, how come it's hard to follow all the principles? And Krishna says, just think of me, become my devotee, which sounds easy, but how come it's hard? So Prabhupada said, because your resolve is not there. The eagerness is not there. So unless someone is intensely eager to see Krishna and is absorbed in remembering him, just as the fruit seller was, he doesn't give him darshan. He only gives his darshan to those sadhaks who desire nothing but seeing him and serving him. I asked Gurudev once when I was going to, become a manjari and all that. And he said, when that's all you want. In other words, he appears only before those who have become completely free from anarthas. It's the anarthas which keeps us from desiring Krishna. What are the anarthas? Some of the anarthas.
Hridoy Dabalya.
What's Hridoy Dabalya?
Weakness of heart.
I don't know if anybody heard you.
Weakness of heart. Hridoy Dabalya
He's such a
is
show-off, isn't he?
weakness of heart.
Okay. What's another anartha?
Swarup Brahm.
What's that?
Confusion about my identity
And Krishna's identity.
and Krishna's identity.
And the identity of the relationship. What's another anartha? Aparad, offenses. What are some offenses? Nama aparad, Vaishnava aparad, Seva aparad, Dham aparad. And what's another one?
Asat Trishna.
What's Asad Trishna?
Desire to enjoy material objects.
Like what? Heavenly planets,
Heavenly planets.
earthly delights.
Earthly delights.
Right. When the fruit seller returned to external consciousness, she said, Lala, my darling baby boy, I will only give you fruit if you sit on my lap just once and call me Ma. So now this fruit seller was like a Sudra lady, and Krishna was the prince of Braj, so it would be embarrassing to sit on her lap. So he looked around to make sure nobody was looking. And then he jumped on her lap, said Ma, and immediately jumped off. Give me fruit. All the deepest desires within the heart of this fruit seller had now been fulfilled. She wanted to give Krishna all of her fruit, but she could only give him as much as he could hold in his tiny arms. So he held them in his hands and his arms. And then he went back to his mother, who was sitting in the courtyard, and he placed the fruits in her veil. Lala, what does Lala mean? Darling boy. Where did you get these fruits? Krishna simply pointed towards the door. Mother Yasoda became delighted to see such succulent and tasty fruits. She began to distribute them to all the gopis present. But amazingly, even though there were only a few fruits. The quantity did not diminish. Even if you take everything away from Krishna, he still remains full. Where did I get that from? What does it say in the Isopanishad? Together? Louder? Louder? Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is complete whole. And so many units emanate from him that are complete, like this universe. You don't have to export anything, import anything into the universe. It's complete. Although so many complete units emanate from him, he is so complete that he remains the complete balance. When Krishna left the fruit seller near the doorstep of his house, she completely lost external awareness. Krishna had stolen her heart, and she simply sat in the very same spot until a gopi passing by shook her and brought her back to external consciousness. She slowly picked up her basket of fruit, placed it upon her head, and then set off for Mathura. But as she was walking along the bank of Jamuna, she noticed that her basket had become heavier and heavier. When she sat down and looked inside, when she set it down and looked inside, she was struck with wonder. Her basket was no longer filled with a variety of fruits, but now it was filled with a variety of jewels. She picked up the basket, threw it into the Jamuna, and burst into tears. Krishna has cheated me, she cried. I've been completely deprived of his real mercy. Overwhelmed by love for Krishna, she lamented bitterly and never returned to his home. Where she went, nobody knows. When Krishna steals her heart, anyone's heart, invariably, this becomes their condition. Are you ready, Sarada, for that condition? Okay. And then what do? Evam vritasva priyanama vritya jatanuraga juta chitta uchai hasyatato rodati rauti gayan Jnanmadava rityati lokabhaya. A person who has love of God, they chant loudly with deep love, constantly engaging in kirtan of their most beloved names of Krishna. When this deep anurag or attachment arises in them, their hearts thoroughly melt and they become mad. They laugh and cry loudly. Agitated by love, they sing about him in sweet voices, just like madmen, without a trace of shyness. They dance and sing, not caring if anybody's looking or not. The evil demoness Putana, who would murder small children and drink their blood, beautifully disguised herself as a mother, intending to kill Krishna, despite her wicked deceit, merely on the basis of her motherly appearance. Krishna granted her the position of a nursemaid. Actually, it was a substitute nursemaid when the real nursemaid was absent in Golok. And in exchange for a morsel of worthless chipped rice, Just see what he gave to Sudama Vipra. He gave him palaces, beautiful maidservants. His wife, who was like really slovenly looking and skinny. Now she was like a beautiful princess. Then what will he not give this fruit seller, who is ready to give him all of her fruit? So one, Putana, gave him poison, and look what he did. And then Sudama, the Brahmin, gave him some used old chipped rice. So what would he not give this fruit seller? Even four-headed Brahma, the creator of the universe, cannot imagine the answer to this question, what he gave the fruit seller. And Brahma prayed in the Bhagavatam, O Master, who is most worshipful even for the demigods, now my mind has become bewildered by a doubt. How will you be able to reward the residents of Braj for their service? Your condensed form of the highest, you are the condensed form of the highest benediction. There's no reward superior to you, like I'm giving you myself. But even if you give your very self to the Brajbasis, you will not be freed from your debt to them, because you have even given yourself to Putana. She was extremely cruel at heart, yet by deceitfully appearing before you in the form of a mother, she got the position of a virtuous nursemaid. Every day Krishna would perform beautiful sweet pastimes like these and immerse the residents of Braj in oceans of bliss. Can Prahlad Maharaj's bhakti control Krishna? No. Can Narada's? No. Can Uddhava's and the Yadus? No. They all have some form of bhakti. Narada is such a good bhakta. He makes millions of devotees all over the universe. But their bhakti can never control him. It's weakened by what?
Aishwarya.
Aishwarya, or a sense of opulence. When are you going to learn English? Both of you. Yeah. When are you going to learn English? What? Are you understanding my English? Have. That's very good. Huh?
There's an app called Duolingo that he uses on his phone.
And that teaches you?
Yeah.
Great. So how much you understand half?
He's saying he practices for 30 minutes. He understands less than half.
Okay, yeah. Okay. See if you can practice for, how do you say it? Un heure.
1 hour?
Oui. She can help you. She's here until Saturday. She can give you classes. Yeah. Okay. If someone's devotion to Krishna is like the devotion of Srimati Radhika, her maidservants, then that person can control Krishna. Like Gurudev said to me when I first met him, you are pursuing Krishna, but if you become a maidservant of Radhika, then Krishna will pursue you. The following verse celebrates this fact. Ananga Ranga Mangala Prasanga Bangu Vabruvam Savibramam Sasambramam Jiganta Banapatana Nirantaram Vasikrita Pratiti Nanda Nandane Kadakarisya Siyam Kripa Katakshabhajanam. O Sarveswari, mistress of all controllers, Radhika, on the stage of amorous sport, in the course of an auspicious discussion, you express amazement by curving your eyebrows like bows, and then suddenly firing the arrows of your sidelong glances, piercing the son of Srinanda with amorous delusion and bringing him under your perpetual control. When will you make me the recipient of your merciful sidelong glance? This is a good song to sing all the time. Even Sita, the wife of Lord Ram, couldn't control Ram by her love because there was some opulence there. But with Srimati Radhika, see, she lived in his house, Sita, so she could be exiled from the house. But Radhika doesn't live in Krishna's house. He becomes so nervous in her presence sometimes that he can never ask her to leave his house, or to speak of banishing her from it forever. He actually gets nervous. Can you imagine that? Krishna getting nervous, as one would get nervous with a superior. Rather, the gopis and Radhika tells Krishna, get out of our kunj, don't come back. While instructing her beloved Krishna in the art of dancing, Sri Radhika watches him with a cane in hand, ready to chastise him. I didn't know that. Her cane, here's her cane. This I knew. Her cane is her sulky, contrary mood, which causes Kunja Bihari to fear to make any mistake, because then she won't speak to him. So what he does pray to her, Smara Garala Kandanam Mama Shirashi Mandanam Dehi Parapalavam Udaram. Oh, my beloved, Cupid's powerful poison is devastating me. Please be merciful to me and place upon my head the cooling, tender petals of your lotus feet. Eek, there's so many pages left. And then Gurudev quotes Balab Kusmanjali, where Srila Raghunath Das Goswami prays, I know that you're capable of offering all kinds of benedictions, but I don't want anything other than your service to your lotus feet. I offer my obeisance to being a Saki, your equal rank friend, but what I really want, which is the essence of my life, is your service. And then he quotes Bodhananda Saraswati, who prays in Radha Rasa Sudanidhi, Yata Kinkari Subahusa Kaloka Kuvani Nityam Parasya Purushasya Shikanda Mole Tasya Kadera Sanidir Prishabhanujayas Tata Keli Kunja Bhavanangana Marjanisham. O daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, ocean of rus, that beautiful boy who wears a gracefully tilting peacock feather in his hair is actually the original personality of Godhead. Still, he's always falling at the feet of your maidservants and pitifully begging them with humble words to gain entrance into your kunj. where the two of you play your amorous pastimes. My life would be successful if I could be even one stick of the broom that your maidservants use to clean your delightful kunj. Just see the glories of the ladies of Braj. They make Sri Hari dance for a mere palmful of buttermilk. No other kind of bhakti has the power to control Krishna in this way. Mother Yasoda may say to him, "Today, Kanaya, do not take the cows to graze in the forest. It's your birthday." But he will not follow her order. He will eagerly go out to graze the cows. What is in the forest that attracts him so much? Within the forest, he can meet the young Braj gopis and play freely with them. The amorous love that the young gopis have is greater even than the parental love. That's why Krishna can disobey Mother Yasoda and not celebrate his birthday in the house. So she'll think, oh, he's just so eager to serve the cows. It's just an excuse, taking out the cows. Of course, those who nourish Madhurya Ras, like the cows, like the gopas, they in turn get nourished. Because look how much pleasure the cows have going out with Krishna, and Krishna calling out, what does he call? Tiri tiri, choo choo, dire dire, hio hio. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that without the help of Radhika Sakis, Krishna's amorous pastimes will never develop in someone's heart. That means we need the mercy of the manjaris in their manjari form and in their sadhak form. And it says, Sri Radha Krishna's pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan are extremely confidential. Such pastimes are beyond the grasp of anyone in the mood of Krishna's affectionate servant, friend, or parent. This is an important verse for proving that Prabhupada is not a coward boy. Only the damsels of Braj are qualified to see these secret pastimes, and only they can make them expand there in the pastime, and expand all over the world in this world. Only they can nourish these secret pastimes, and they take pleasure in making them expand. No one can see or participate in these pastimes without the help of the young Braj gopis. So therefore, at the beginning of the book Gopi Geet, they were actually darshans. The book is just transcriptions, edited transcriptions of darshans. So Gurudev began by saying, before beginning our study of Gopi Geet, first we offer our obeisances and prayers to Gopi Geet and to the author and to the disciplic succession and to those same devotees, excuse me, I'm going to slob, the same devotees who in their gopi forms participate in the ras. Without the mercy of those who participated in the ras, no one can understand Rasa Leela. There's no other way to obtain this. One day, Lord Shiva set off to see his supremely worshipful Lord, who had just appeared in Braj. Arriving at the gate of Nanda Maharaj's house, he sang loudly, Alak Niranjan, Alak Niranjan, Alak Niranjan. And he was playing that drum. You know, you shake it and it has these things that bang independently, you know what I mean? And it also plays like that. Alak Niranjan means that he's like a beggar. Give me some alms. Mother Yasoda came to the door when she heard him singing and playing his drum, but when she saw the appearance of this unusual yogi, she became afraid. He wore robes of tiger skin and a garland of human skulls. Dangerous serpents adorned his hands, feet, and neck, and he held a tall, fearful trident. Can you imagine seeing that? By his side. His body was smeared from head to toe with ashes from the crematorium ground, and his thoroughly matted hair made him look ancient and even dreadful. His carrier, bull carrier Nandi, a massive bull, accompanied him. Seeing that this terrible-looking yogi was approaching, accompanied by Nandi, she became utterly terrified. Nevertheless, she asked him dutifully, "Do you want some alms? Just wait, and I will bring them to you." Lord Shiva replied, "O mother, I have walked so far to come here from my home in Kailash. Just show me your baby. I just want to see your darling child." She said, "Eat or drink whatever you like, and then go. And do not play your damaru so loudly. My child is sleeping." So Lord Shiva said, "O innocent mother, I do not want your flour, your beans, your silk cloths, and bags, nor do I want anything to eat or drink or wear or rest upon. I have come only to see your darling son just once. This is the only donation I need." Mother Yasoda hesitated, then said, "I'm an adult, yet your appearance terrifies me. My darling boy is so young, he will become too afraid if he sees your form, so I will not show him to you." And she went inside the house. So Lord Shiva, the foremost demigod, was not about to leave without seeing Krishna. He sat down by the door and lit a ceremonial fire. When your beautiful son grows a little older, he thought, he will come outside to play, and I will finally be able to see him. I will not return to Kailash without seeing him. In other words, if I have to wait years for him to grow up, I will. To this day, the place near Nanda's home where Mahadev Shankar was sitting is known as Yogiya Kunda. Mother Yasoda entered the house and found her darling baby boy crying loudly. Nothing she tried would pacify him, so she consulted her friends. A respected elder gopi said, "You know, this is not an ordinary yogi. He is from the sacred mountains of Kailash. When your boy heard him playing his drum, he became afraid, and now he has started to cry more and more loudly. It would be wise to show him your dear son at least once." Seeing no other recourse but to show her son to the extraordinary yogi, she placed Krishna in a black basket and covered all of his limbs with black cloth to protect him from inauspiciousness. She anointed his eyes with thick black eyeliner and marked his forehead with a black dot. Imagine seeing Krishna in this way. Then she reluctantly brought Krishna outside and allowed the yogi just one brief glance. To her astonishment, when she was turning to enter her house, she noticed that Krishna had stopped crying. Shiva, the king of mystics, spoke to her, "Mother, I will light a ceremonial fire and stay nearby. If ever your beloved child, falls prey to some evil, just call for me. I will chant mantras and ward off any evil effects with mustard seeds and salt, and he will be restored to health." Thereafter, whenever Krishna would cry, she would call the yogi from his dwelling. "Yogi, chalo, Nanda Bhavan May. Chalo, come on." One night, Mother Yasoda was tenderly stroking Krishna and lulling him to sleep. She was lulling him to sleep with a story. Once, there was a king. Krishna said, "Yes, and?" His name was Dasarath, and he had 4 sons. When they grew up, Visvamitra took them to protect the arena of his sacred fire sacrifice. Yes, and? After they saved the fire sacrifice, Visvamitra took them to Mithila. The king of Mithila, Maharaj Janak, had vowed to give his daughter's hand in marriage only to one who could string Shiva's bow and break it, and not to anyone else. Kings came from many far-off lands, but they all failed. Finally, Sri Ram strung Shiva's massive bow and broke it, and Princess Sita was married to him. Krishna murmured as she spoke, and whenever she paused, even for a brief moment, Krishna eagerly inquired, "Mother, what happened next?" To carry out his father's order, Ram had to enter the forest in exile, and Sita and Lakshman went with him. When they were residing at a place called Panchavati, the demon Marich tricked Ram and led him to the forest. Meanwhile, back at their cottage, Ravana came and kidnapped Sita. Just hearing this, Krishna, absorbed in the mood of Ram, sprang up from his bed, crying, "Lakshman, bring my bow! Where's my bow, my bow?" May Sri Krishna's impassioned cries, when he is absorbed in hearing this mood, protect you. This pastime is from the Padyabali. One day, while Mother Yasoda was churning yogurt in an earthen pot, she attracted her darling son to her with sweet words. Then for a short time, she left to do something else. When Krishna's eyes fell upon the earthen pot, he saw the moon reflected on the surface of the yogurt. When Mother Yasoda returned, he repeatedly demanded, "Mother, I want the moon. Give me that toy." Mother Yasoda took a lump of butter from the pot and gave it to him. At first he became happy, but when he looked back into the pot, he saw that the moon was still there. Kids are funny. Again, he began restlessly demanding it. Mother Yasoda said, "Look up. That is the moon. I want it," he demanded. "There's poison in it." Krishna asked, "How did the poison get on it?" "A long time ago, when the demigods and demons churned the great ocean of milk, poison came to the surface. That poison is on the moon. Do you see these black impressions on the moon? That is the poison. Tell me, would you like to play with that? Hearing this explanation, Krishna became afraid. Such are Krishna's unlimited pastimes. He drowns the residents of Braj in the ocean of their sweetness, and he also drowns in that ocean. Now it's 8:30, and I'm going to end the class by saying, thus ends the Digdarshani Vritti of the third verse. Okay, so, and here's the picture of Krishna seeing his own reflection on the moon. So tomorrow is what? Thursday? Thursday, tomorrow we'll do Harinam, Sankirtan, and book distribution. In the daytime, 4:30 to Brickell. And then we come back for the program. Okay, no urgent questions. Then she'll make sure there's no urgent questions. And now we'll be doing Gaur Arati. Kartik Brat ki jai. Damodar Brat ki jai. Shri Damodar Astakam ki jai. Dam Bandhan Leela ki jai. Can you give him some lessons? Yeah. Just take like 10 minutes. Because you have other very important things to do. So we have something. No, just show him where on the internet you can get classes. That would be better. Wow. YouTube University. Can you tell him now?
You should get the app. He's using too. It's really
YouTube University. Does Jagadananda go on there?
No, sure. There's YouTube. Like you could find lessons on YouTube, Duolingo.
He does. He has an app that he.
It's like a.
What's happening?
It's that. That one right there.
Oh, sorry.
Krishna Jugala Milan, Jugala Milan, Jaya Jaya Radha Krishna Yugala Milan, Arati Karai Lalitari Sakiga, Madana Mohana Rupa Chibanga Sundar, Pitambara Siki Pucha Chura Manohar, Chura Manohar, Lalita Madhava Bame Vishabhanu Kanya, Sane Gori Rupe Ganadanya Nana Vidha Alanka Kale Jalama Alanka Kale Hari Mano Vimohana Vadana Ujvala Vishakari Saki Gana Nana Rage Gai Priya Narma Saki Jato Chamaradulai 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 Priya Narma Saki Jato Chamaradulai Hey Radhe Shri Radhe Bole Chamaradulai Radulai Hey Radhe Shri Radhe Radhe Chamaradulai Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Shri Radha Madhava Pada Sarasi Jashe Bhakati Vinoda Saki Parasuke Vashe Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Radha Raman Bihari Radha Raman Bihari Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hey guys, race car driver Josh Balicki here, driver of the number 91 Mando Chevrolet. Your pit crew can make or break your race.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya